Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Welcome. Good evening. Yes, you look so beautiful. Welcome. Hi, I'm Elizabeth Greenway, and it is my great honor to welcome you tonight as the new Executive Director of the Griffith Observatory Foundation. This is my 24th day on the job. Oh, guys, I am just over the moon to be here with you tonight. And to begin, get ready, all night. I'm so excited to be here with all of you on this extremely special occasion. This is a gorgeous, iconic building, and this is our 90th birthday. So happy birthday to the Griffith Observatory. The mission of the Griffith Observatory Foundation is to support and promote the observatory as a home for science literacy, education, and public astronomy. And this community of committed celestial supporters is the best in the galaxy. It's true. I would like to gratefully acknowledge the Griffith Observatory Foundation Board of Directors. If you are here from the Board of Directors, thank you so much. Please wave. You are wonderful. Thank you, Trish. Thank you, board members. And the staff of the Griffith Observatory Foundation, raise your hands, you guys. You are wonderful. And to our wonderful volunteers, where are you at? Yes. You have made me feel so welcome. Thank you so much for everything that you have done to make an absolutely stellar birthday celebration today. I would also like to take a moment to thank and acknowledge Amazon, our 90th anniversary sponsor, for its generous support. Thank you, Amazon, of this milestone year at Griffith Observatory. Okay, show of hands. Do we have any foundation members in the house? Yes, thank you, members. Welcome, thank you. We are so grateful for your very generous support and stewardship of the observatory and its programs. Thank you so much. So, my family and I are so very proud to be on Terrace members of the Griffith Observatory Foundation. So, I grew up on Star Trek. I married Star Wars. But I have been a stargazer all my life. But it really has been at the Griffith Observatory Foundation as a member that I have connected to the pure joy and sense of wonder in astronomy and to the fantastic community that surrounds the Griffith Observatory. We gave our son a membership when he turned 5. Hi, Falcon. I'm glad you're here. Yeah. And we've just had so much fun as members of the Griffith Observatory Foundation ever since. Like many of you, we read the Griffith Observer cover to cover at our kitchen table, Dr. Krupp, and we chuckle at the marvelous puns and wonderful references and all the learning in the Griffith Observer. We love coming to events, and we love sharing this beautiful place with friends and family when they visit us from out of town. Griffith Observatory is a feeling of wonder, discovery, belonging, and this is what has offered to millions of viewers and visitors since 1935. So who is here this evening at Griffith Observatory inside this building for the very first time? Raise your hands. Yes, I'm so happy that you are here to celebrate with us. You are now part of this brilliant community and of a legacy that stretches across generations and space-time into the future. As we celebrate tonight, we are also looking ahead to the Olympics coming to Los Angeles in 2028, to the 100th anniversary of Griffith Observatory, so put it on your calendar, May 14th, 2035, and we want you all to be here. And to the next 90 years of curiosity, discovery, and public astronomy for everyone. Together, we will ensure that this beacon of learning, beauty, and inspiration shines even brighter for the next generation and beyond. And now, without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce to you the Director of Griffith Observatory, Dr. E.C. Krupp. Ed.
Elizabeth, thank you very much. And I want you to know that this is exactly how we roll at Griffith Observatory. We bring on a new director and give her 24 days to deal with the 90th anniversary. It's just perfect. So good evening. I am cheered and honored to welcome you to another key part of today's acknowledgement of Griffith Observatory's 90th birthday. 90 years is a respectable amount of time for the continuity of an iconic landmark and its singular astronomical programming that's designed to inspire everyone to observe, ponder, and understand the sky, as you've heard. But the indigenous peoples of California have been here for thousands of years. And Rex Saint Onge Sr. joins us today with a program that links the observatory's birthday, your birthday, and everyone's birthday, with Native California's relationship with the sky. Mr. Saint Onge Sr. has made and published significant discoveries about Chumash astronomy and the celestial components of traditional Chumash religion. He contributed to the University of California, Berkeley project, The Cosmic Serpent, Collaboration with Integrity, bringing native ways of knowing and Western science in museums. And that was published in 2012, but he served as the cultural consultant for Pacific Standard Universe Art Cosmology in California, which plays here multiple times a day in the Leonard Nimoy Event Horizon. And that, of course, was Griffith Observatory's project for Getty's unprecedented PST Art and Science Collide. He also sang a traditional Chumash song in the soundtrack for the film. And this evening, right after this program, we shall all relocate to Griffith Observatory's Lower West Terrace, where Rex will sing down the sun as it sets on Griffith Observatory's May 14th sunset birthday line. And it's partly my responsibility to make sure all of you get out there on time. And so I shall be, in fact, giving you explicit directions from which you may not deviate, because the sun isn't going to wait for you. Before that happens, however, he'll show you how the sky observes your birthday. Rex, please.
Thank you, Ed. I appreciate it. Hello, everyone. Welcome. I studied and learned under several elders in the Native American community to get to the place where I understand that when we're talking about the movement of the stars and the sun, that it's a spiritual movement. That yes, we're physical, but we're also spiritual. So one of the things that I was taught is to honor all of those who were here in ceremony. So this is ceremony. When you look in the mirror and you look at your eyes, your ears, nose, faces, hands, feet, these things you've inherited from your ancestors, who all knew the stars and the sun, who all knew the plants, the seasons, and they passed through time successfully and gave rise to you. So here you sit, very powerful, with all those tools you inherited from all of your ancestors, like I did from mine. The culture, the Chumash culture, is amazing because it's a one-world culture, all souls from the same noble place. So the elders that I learned from and just were blessed to live with and next to in ceremony taught me things about myself and my spirit and the way I see myself in this world and others. And it was a learning curve that wasn't always gracious. Things were pointed out and I had to learn. But I want to remind people that we need to remember where we came from and acknowledge who we are individually and how sacred our image is in the mirror, because we're looking at success. We're looking at success through time on earth. We individually are that success. So I thank you for coming. I thank your ancestors for giving rise to you. And I hope that when we leave here, we'll leave stronger than we were spiritually and physically before we came. Knowledge and truth are something that are medicine. And I always thought, wow, all this, crazy spiritual stuff, it actually has a foundation. As the sun moves for the year and the star wheel turns for the night, all the animal people and plant people adjust themselves on the Earth's surface to deal with that. Trees give rise to trees. They drop their acorns when they're supposed to. Fish migrate, whales and dolphins migrate, the birds migrate. Everything has done this continuously through time. So if you ever feel like you're distracted or not where you should be, look at a ground squirrel, look at a bird. They're going to be busy doing what they need to do for their children and their next generation to survive. So look at their strength. Take strength from them. So, when we talk about the day we were born or the night we were born, the stars are in certain positions. And we're going to share that with you today. So you all have one of these. And this is basically the star wheel at night. And you'll see December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, as the Big Dipper goes around, an hour and a half after sunset. So this is the 15th of each month, and I did that so it'd be easier for you to go backwards or forwards on the star wheel to find your day, the day you were born. You can add the rest of your family in here later and have your family star wheel or pinwheel for the year. You can go back, grandmothers, great-grandfathers, and you can paint a picture and hang it on your wall in your house of just the pinwheel that is only your family. So these are gifts and things that we look at and we go, oh, I remember. That's when Grandpa was born. That's the night where the stars were the night Grandpa was born. I wasn't there, but I know where those stars were. And this chart will help you do that. On the other side is the sun as it moves during the course of the year. And we have a sun slide that we use, equinox when the sun's in the middle, and we'll go over that a little better. But here you're going to be able to mark or draw where the sun was the day you were born, where it rose. And here's today where the sun rose. And this is summer solstice, winter solstice, and they're written on there what they are, and midpoints. All plants and animals go by this and have gone by this since the T-Rex, and dinosaurs roamed the earth. Their shadows were on this earth. Our shadows are on this earth. All day long, our shadows travel together across the surface of this earth like a sundial. We're the gnomon. We're the one casting that shadow. So there's feather poles that are made the size and height of people who've lost their family, elders that cross over. And they'll put up the feather pole the same size as the height of that individual so that they can remember their father, their mother, and the length of their shadow as it crossed the ground. So we want to put ourselves back in sync with nature because nature will not be deprived of that which is natural. We can say things and do things. We can have an opinion about something, but the dolphin and the animals and the eagles, they don't care. They don't care. Someone asked me, oh, Y2K, what are you going to do? I said, well, if I see all the ground squirrels running for the mountain, I'll run with them. But until I see that, I'm not going anywhere. So the elders that taught me to be practical and just, stay cool and be calm and love everybody. One of the Chumash ancestors, his name was Quetzalcoatl, and he was from Santa Cruz Island. He was asked, what do you think of white people by Harrington, early 1900s? And he said his grandfather taught him that white people were from here. When they died, their souls went west to the land of the dead. They returned from the east a different color, speaking a different language. But the noble principles of their souls are the same, for this truly is but one world congregation. We need to get into a place and we need to remember nature and our place in it, and that we're all part of one big village. And our shadows are all the same color on the earth, and they all travel together, like with the bear and the coyote and the trees and the oaks. Everything travels together as we pass through time. So this is a lesson in time passing, the year. It's cyclic. It does the same thing every single year. These stars do the same thing every single year. The sun goes south, goes north. It does the same thing every year. So the elders all told me, hey, if you can learn the year, you've learned the past, the present, and the future. Because it's not going to change for anyone's opinion of the truth, for it is the truth. So I have a shrine site, and I have stones all the way around it, big ones. And in that, we have the shadow of the sun design, the star wheel. And guess what? It's the same all over the world. The shadow of the sun makes the same image. So we see that in rock art in China, Japan, Africa, Hawaii, Europe, everywhere. Little caves in the middle of an island out in the middle of the Atlantic or Pacific, the same image carved. Because all of our ancestors were marking time. And that is important because it tells us when certain medicinal plants are ready. Let's say your ancestors were ignorant. Hunter-gatherers, non-complex. These are words archaeologists use to describe Native American communities. It's not true, it's not good. If they were that, they would have eaten the poisonous plants and none of them would exist today. So all of you are here because your ancestors knew not to eat the poisonous plants. And they knew when the medicine plants, based on where the sun was and the star wheel, when those medicine plants were ready at their peak, best medicine. They didn't have to go looking. They just looked up at the star wheel and where the sun was and which direction it was moving for the year. It's so simple. It's so simple. And Pastor Shoyama, he was full-blood Chumash at the last Kakanupmawa ceremony at San Buenaventura. He told the group, there's a star up in the sky, and he looks down on the world, not for one, but for all. So what kind of guy would say something like that? A non-complex hunter-gatherer? I don't think so. So we live in the shadow of giants, our own ancestors. We would not exist if it wasn't for them. None of us would be here. So don't eat poisonous plants. Don't listen to people who are poisonous. And live the best life and be the best person you can be. No matter what's happened in your life, get over it, get through it, move forward in a positive way. And remember how strong those ancestors are because you exist and you're that strong individually. Look in the mirror if you ever doubt it because that's where you came from. And every gene in your body has the trail and the path of all the ancestors that gave rise to you. So if the smallest part of you has the map of where you came from, and there's billions of them in your body, you're those maps. How powerful are you? So Native Americans, elders, they don't want to hear excuses. I'd go up to them with complaints and problems. I'd say, well, you have it harder than the ground squirrel? It has a hawk waiting to pick it off every time it sticks its head out of a hole? So just understand how sacred it is, our time and our time passing. So this is basically ceremony for me. I'm showing you for the first time in your lives, some of you, how basic it is, our life and our existence, but how precious it is. Because who can stop time? Nobody. The year turns. The sun moves. 90 years ago, they opened this door. Where are all those people now? Where are they? Can we talk to them? 90 years from now, is anybody going to be able to talk to any of you? So let's leave something behind, truthful, good, positive, something that'll stand alone. My spiritual elder who taught me, he always said, Rex, always remember the truth stands alone. The truth is none of us are perfect. We all make mistakes, but you learn from them, you move forward through time. That's all we can do. Draw strength from that, be the best you, teach people about nature, time passing, and how they don't want to waste it. So the card is just for you, and we wanted to contribute so that you understood how the stars move and how your life is passing by. Just like those of your ancestors that are gone. Their bones are on the ground, but you're here. So we use white for the winter solstice position of the Big Dipper after sunset. Green for spring, when the Big Dipper after sunset is standing on its handle. Red for summer, when the Big Dipper is high up in the sky. This color for autumn, when the leaves fall from the trees. Even all the plants, they die too, just like we do. And then they're reborn again in spring from their children, their seeds, their plants. All this happens during the year. It's really amazing. The constellations roll over our head. The planets fly by. Ed knows where they all are. I'll find things in Chumash rock art, and I'll say, this looks like Orion, or this looks like Gemini. I'll send it to Ed. Does that look right? Maybe, yeah, if it's standing on its head in winter setting in the west, and one eye's closed and you're looking through some trees at it. So that's the way it works. We're trying to recapture knowledge and remember how things were and how they were reckoned. So I made this with one of the elders from the Elders Council, Bo, who was here with me before, but it's you looking north at the North Star. It's you reckoning the nights of your life. The night that you were cut from your mother when you were born. When everything came to you and said, when you were at your weakest, are you going to survive? Are you going to make it? And you drank water from this world. And you ate minerals and plants and things from this world. And you absorbed them. And your spirit said, I got to make a body, or I'm going to die. And you grew up, I got to learn how to walk. I got to learn how to talk. I got to learn how to do all these things with this body, this physical body. Now you've done it. So I know everyone here right now manufactured a body all on their own. Nobody else did it for you. You did it. You did it. How powerful is that? How powerful are you to make that decision when you're at your weakest? What decision can you make that's more powerful than that one? Gather some flowers from the day you were born and know that those were the ones that were under the tree the day your mother held you for the first time. Get some feathers. Those were the birds that were in the tree the day your mother held you for the first time. And then ask the great maker of all things, even this dirt ball flying through space, turning east at 1,000 miles an hour. At least I know a few other things that were there the day I was born, the day I made my contract, the day I reckoned myself against all of this material, all of these things that are happening. We can go to the Grand Canyon. We can study dinosaurs, trilobites 500 million years ago, come up through the reptilian age into the great mammal age, and then us in this little tiny strip of time. Everything I'm talking to you about is time passing. Everything I have here are tools used by the Chumash people to monitor time and watch time pass. Time is sacred. For the Chumash up in Somali area, in Santa Barbara, the word for the creator is Shniliman. Niliman is time passing in the Somali language. Put an S on it, it's Shniliman, the Father in heaven, the North Star Polaris, that this Big Dipper turns around. The center where all constellations and all stars rotate around in the northern hemisphere. You can look up at the sky and by using the Big Dipper and tell time. All the nocturnal animals and things actually use the night sky and the moon. And then you can look at the sun and how it moves. It starts in December and then moves north for 6 months, equinox in the middle of spring, longest day of the year, summer, back, equinox in September, fall, all the dead leaves falling to the ground, all the plants honoring the movement of the sun, Why didn't they drop their leaves when it was moving north? How do they know to drop them when it's moving south? Talking to each other somehow. Then it goes down and the year ends. So the Chumash and other native people and all the people of the world celebrated these maximums of the sun with ceremonies. So they knew to save food for the long nights of winter. So all the stories come from that. There's tools that we've developed that are musical, and they do different things. These were developed in ceremony when everybody got together on these sacred days and positions of the sun and star wheel. As a group, as a village. And then the stories happened, then the dancing happened, then the music came. So music is a result of ceremony. Dancing is the result of a ceremony. Community is a result of coming together and acknowledging these great positions of the sun. Bringing the sun back from the south when the long nights and it's cold. Bringing the sun back from the north when it's hot and dry. And just keeping this great cyclic motion of seasons in motion. It's just honoring those days, reckoning them. You're not actually praying to bring the sun back. They know the sun's going to come back because the great maker put it all in motion. We get blown away by some things like the shadow of the sun on a flat stone makes an image. In December, this is actually the image. See if I can tilt this up. The shadow of the sun in winter goes like this and makes our arms. In summer, it goes like this and makes our legs. And on the equinox, it goes straight through our body. This image is in rock art all over the world. There's nowhere you could go. In Italy, there's 50 of them in a cave, even with a little hole for the stick, because it's a sundial. So when you start thinking about your ancient ancestors, keep this in mind. Our brain size hasn't changed in a long, long time. So if we're smart, they were smart for a long, long time. So do yourself a favor and don't underestimate any tribal people anywhere on earth because they're living in sync with nature. And they sing their songs for the movements of the long nights and the long days. Instead, be that person that reckons it. And know, if I live to be 90 years, I hope I've reckoned the year at least once in my life. Because when I travel to the other side, my bone's on the ground. And I get there, I'm going to want to say, hey, oh, my Lamborghini, it went this fast. I was so good at football. That's not what's going to get you through the gate. What's going to get you through that gate is knowledge. You're going to say, I watched the seasons turn. In the night sky, I watched the sun move. And I watched all the animal and plant people live in sync. So we want to go get back in sync. Keep it simple. Live with all the plant and animal people that are around you. Watch the stars and the sun turn. Sing and enjoy your music and food and the company of your families. Because the family's changed through time. You're not going to be here forever. Those great-grandfathers, they're gone. So it's a legacy that you want to pass on in the world. It's knowledge and truth. You don't want to be an uncreator. You want to be a creator. So create good things and positive energy and do the best you can. There's always plenty of people trying to bring us down and go negative. Because if they see you doing something positive, they want to hit you with some big negatives to match the big positive. So if you're doing something great, you're having a great life, and all this negative stuff happens because it's trying to balance it out. Energy, like a battery in your car, positive and negative poles, they exist. Just do the best you can. That's all you can do as you're passing through time. This is a Native American spiritual life way that I've accepted and been a part of and will die part of. It's a reckoning of nature and ourselves within it. It's a remembering our ancestors who gave rise to us and honoring them, the ones in our family. Perfection, we're not. The world and the stars and the sun and the movement of them is perfection. We look at things differently. The shadow of the sun, the same stone, the moon makes the same image on that flat stone. So how is it when we orbit the sun and the moon orbits us that a single sunstone can record both the moon shadow and the sun's? Both the moon rise and set in the same direction, rise in the east, set in the west, both almost exactly the same size. So who did that? Who put that all into motion? How is it that that's even real and we can see that and watch it with a simple stick? So not only does your shadow make that during the day, it makes it at night with the moon. These are the kind of things that the native ancestors pondered. And they thought, how could there not be a great maker with this beautiful clock in motion? Perfection. So we need to remember our world is beautiful and perfect. Our ancestors were beautiful and perfect. And we're all part of this living thing traveling through time and space. So by reckoning the star wheel and the birthdays, it's a way the elders talk about being coyote, to educate people in spirit and give them medicine, real medicine, medicine that stands alone. They can take it home. It'll never change. It'll always be the same because opinions don't affect it. So reckon yourself to the truth and reality, space, time, but most importantly, your own biological existence. And just be the best you. So these cards are just something that is fun, and we wanted to share native knowing with scientific astronomy and scientific knowing. True science documents things that are real and true. That's medicine. That's the greatest religion. Because if it's real and true, we should know it. So science is medicine, and science is truth. And it's one of the greatest things. So these are all tools that we use to get through time. You can figure out the season. If you were born in December on the long nights when the sun was all the way in the south, then your flowers are going to be different in your spirit bag than somebody that was born on the long days of summer, or on the equinox in spring, or the equinox in fall. So you can't just grab a Native American spirit bag and say, what's in there? Let me see that. Police can't grab it or dump it out. It's a felony. So you can't do that because someone can unmake the flowers made the day you were made and put bad native medicine on you, bad medicine on you. So you don't want anybody unmaking the things from the day you were made. So we keep our birthdays kind of secret. I've learned this. I didn't used to, but now I do. So I believe there's a spirit that is in everything, the animals, the plants, and everything. And that's what I was here to share with you, is that great spirit that is in everything, that all our ancestors reckoned. How could you be alive on earth, look up at the heavens every night, and see those constellations rolling over and all those planets and think, this is nothing. I myself am nothing. You can't, because it's all too beautiful. It's all too amazing. Anyone who attacks nature attacks themselves, attacks beauty, truth. So we need to take care of this planet that we're on, flying through space, and ourselves and each other. That's the only way we're going to move forward. And as we get older, we need to get smarter and wiser and try to share good things and move positive forward. It's not easy. It's really not easy, and none of us are perfect. So it's a struggle. But when we're done and our bones fall to the ground and we go to the great maker and our spirit transitions from spirit to bone and flesh back to spirit. Maybe we'll have a few truths with us that allow us to move forward into that next realm. I keep hoping that someday a spaceship or a probe or something's going to actually get to the door of heaven and break through and catch Creator sitting there at his dinner table going, "What are you doing here?" And it's going to have a little sign on the back that says, "Dr. Ed Krupp sent me." And then there's going to be a reckoning. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Rex, you have another interesting object on the table.
Yes.
And I wonder if you would show it and explain it. The North Star stick.
Okay. So this is called the North Star staff, and it is a stone and a stick. A stick surmounted by a stone is set in the ground, and the shadow of this stick is put down into a hole with white all around the bottom. And trust me, I learned this the hard way. The first flat stone I made was a charcoal color, brown cocoa, and the shadow on it on a cloudy day literally disappeared. I had to put a white piece of paper down with a hole in it, and I would follow it. And then I read in the notes from over 100 years ago, Maria Solaris, and she says the stone was white. So they're all dead, and we're scrambling to recover and reclaim some of that sacred knowledge. So it only took 10 or 15 years to finally find that in the notes. I was using a piece of white paper when I could have just made the stone white and made my life a lot easier. So all my stones are white now. This stone, when you look at the top of it, has one single line, and that single line is to face south. Because we're in the northern hemisphere, we never cast a south shadow, so they had to paint it on the stone. This design in the Somali language, it's called a flower of the sun. It's beautiful. And it has all the directions, true north, east, west. It's all on here. It's the mitre. And as the day progresses on the sacred days, while this is in the hole, the shadow moves under it, and you can look down at it and see the hour of the day and the minute. One was also used in the Chumash tamal, or canoe, which was a Jeffrey pine plank canoe. The Jeffrey pine was called the tamal tree. In that one, the stick is on top, and you watch the shadow of the sun and the hour of the day. And the old men would go out in the canoes with the Chumash and the young men, and they would do this. Because those young men needed to learn. Where are we now, boys? What doesn't change when I do that? It's the direction of the shadow. So you can watch that shadow. It'll never change, no matter how I spin the stone. So there's lessons in all of these things that are just amazing tools. And they're sacred in their use because they are a tool to reckon time and time passing, whether it's the hour of the day or the year, the length of the shadow at midday. All our ancestors were doing it because in the rock art all over the world, the same images everywhere. So when you're filling out this little sheet I was coyote about, you're walking in the steps of your ancestors. You're back. You're reconnecting. Welcome home. One world congregation. How am I doing on time?
For time, did you want to entertain any questions?
Not one.
Okay.
Yeah. So, don't hurt me too bad. But any questions? Yes.
I was informed that you're not from the Chumash tribe. What
No.
tribe are you from?
I am not. I was adopted into the tribe by Joe Tologan, who is chairman of the Elders Council of the San Ynez Band of Chumash. So I was hanging out with him. Before that, I was actually chief operations officer of the Northern Chumash Tribal Council with a man named Fred Collins, who turned out not to be Chumash. So there's a lot of folks running around that are not Chumash, that claim to be Chumash. Front page, LA Times, it's everywhere. But I was brought into the culture and named, I got my spiritual name and was inducted into the religion by the chairman of the Elders Council of the San Ynez Band of Chumash Indians and at their federal tribe. So that was my religious and spiritual choice that I made. And then I started being taught by them over the years and learned what I learned. The problem is, people who say those kind of things aren't thinking one world congregation. They're haters. Haters actually need to know that they hurt themselves more than they hurt anybody else, because it's a lot harder to hate than it is to just let that go. If you're representing and you're doing what's right for the culture that you've been inducted into, it doesn't matter if you're Chinese, Mexican, Black, it doesn't matter. You are that culture. So it wasn't something that, happened in days. It took 10 years or so for me to be inducted into the religion. Then it took another 8 or 9 years to get my spiritual name. Those names come from the elders noticing certain animals are doing something with you in ceremony. And then they'll name you for that animal. You'll see Muhu up there, and I'm singing for the man who brought me into the religion. I'm singing for the man who named me. I loved him more than anything I can say. So when we get into the trick bag of negativities and stuff, the advanced cultures think one world only, all of us from the same group. We're humans. You're like one coyote from Kansas telling another one from California, you're not a coyote. We all marry and have children together. We're all part of the human group, okay? So to be a spiritual person, you have to leave all that behind. And you have to reckon everyone as an individual and respect them for all the ancestors that gave rise to them. It's how I started this whole thing. It's really important to do that. So, yeah, there's haters. There's never not going to be. Wars all over the planet, people judging each other for this or that. It's not good. It's bad medicine. Don't fall into that. Don't play into that. If my elder was here, he would have explained what I just said to you the same way. But he died about a year ago, so I miss him. But he taught me things that stand alone, the truth. And what I just shared with you is the truth. My truth was I came in, and as a paleontologist, I was with the LA County Natural History Museum first as a volunteer, then as a field associate, went on for decades. And I met some of the Chumash out on these projects where we were monitoring. And I'm not going to go into which woman said, hey, I want you to come help us now, instead of doing that because you're really good at what you do. And then I said, hey, you guys have something I'm missing. You have something I'm missing. So then I started researching it, and they said, well, you've got stuff we've never heard. What? This is all about us. Yeah, so we just started sharing, and next thing you know, we're all family. Mm-hmm. So I don't know where anybody else came from or whatever, but I know my story, and nobody else does. If they ask me, I'll tell them the truth. So, any other questions? Yeah.
Hi. So I'm not, a formal anthropologist, but I did live in Malibu for 2 years.
Yeah.
Lots of fires, very sad.
Mm-hmm.
Lovingly, one of my neighbors told me it was a Chumash curse, that when the fires came, they would go to Catalina, they didn't build houses.
Okay.
I kind of watched as my apartment burned, and
Yeah.
I was thinking to myself,
So
they
can I
might
just...
have some wisdom with the earth. And
Yeah, well, that's not wisdom. The Chumash didn't curse anyone.
Thank you.
That's stupidity.
Thank you.
The Chumash there's a book called Tending the Wild you can get, and they would light the forest on fire every year when the grass was this tall and thin, and it never got hot enough to kill hardly anything. It just swept itself. And now we let it build up and concentrate into such density that the fire gets so hot, it kills everything and creates windstorms that are beyond anything because the temperatures rise so hot that it just strips everything. Now that's payback for stupidity.
Thank you.
That has nothing to do with cursing. You know, we could say the Spanish cursed the Chumash because they came in here. You know, you see a lot of people saying, oh, well, this is Mexico, California. Like, no, it isn't. It was Native American land, hundreds of villages, been here for tens of thousands of years. Spanish replaces all the languages, the indigenous languages. So what do we say? We hate Spain and anybody that speaks Spanish? 90% of the natives in California speak Spanish because they're the ones, the conquistadors, that ripped their language and culture from them with the Catholic Church. So we're trying to pull back scraps of that. It's never good when those things happen. So we don't want to strip someone else, an individual. You don't want to strip some other country of their culture. We need to just be nice and be the best we can be, and nobody's perfect. But, yeah, I'm not going to degrade the Chumash culture by saying they're running around cursing people. That's not good. And I've heard people say, oh, tall people, you know, you got to watch out for tall people in the Native community. Chief Bouchon, who was one of the greatest Chumash chiefs to ever live, was like 6'5". So when you educate yourself in the real culture with the truth, all of a sudden, it doesn't matter if you're tall, short, it doesn't matter, because it's one world congregation. And it has to be that way. We need to help people, we need to help our culture, we need to water plants, and we need to burn things off every year. And go back to the ancient ways. Like I said earlier, brain capacity and brain size hasn't changed in 100,000 years. So we could dig, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know this is coming. Rex is my good friend, and he knows that that sun is not going to wait for us.
No, it is not. Yeah. Okay.
So it's my duty. It's my duty to help you get to your next step.
Yes.
First, to thank Rex very much.
Thank you.
I did not detail for you, and I think you just have to go out and do your own homework. But I first came along with Rex and his knowledge, fancying myself as someone who's pretty informed about Chumash astronomy, and discovered that Rex discovered an ancient tree carving that reflects some of the most important principles of indigenous astronomy in Chumash territory that anybody had ever seen. That paper is published in a research journal. It's a solid piece of work. He's the guy who found it, and he's the guy who understood what it really represented. And that's when I realized maybe I could learn a little bit more Chumash astronomy from Rex. We are headed out this room, the Leonard Nimoy Event Horizon, up those stairs, and then turn right on the edge of space, and I'll be leading you with Rex, but we'll be going out the Sunset Portal. As we pass the cafe at the end of the universe and the Stellar Emporium in the Sunset Portal, turn left, and you'll be walking south. You've got all your directions straight, right? You'll be walking south in the Gottlieb Transit Corridor till you come to the end, and you have only one place to go, up the stairs and to the left. Go up there, and you will be exactly where you're supposed to be.
So the shadow of the sun is not just Chumash, right? The shadow of the sun is all of us. And what it does is for all of us. What the stars do is for all of us. So I learned that Chumash astronomy is all of our astronomy.
We'll head out there now.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
I think, yeah.
Can I ask you a really quick question?
Yeah.
I've been wondering what these things are